through. We just need a motion to approve the minutes from the last Coulter Drainage District meeting, and
Where's the, there we go. Okay,
We need to go into our drainage trustees mode
okay.
with the Coulter. No, is there anything for South Nobles that we're supposed to be doing too, or no?
No, just because it had the last time I took the minutes, it had some South Noble stuff on it, so.
Okay, so we're in Nobles, South Nobles and Coulter Levy Trustee Drainage District. I will make a motion to approve the September 24th, 2020 minutes.
Okay, got a motion, got a second, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Then
Motion carried.
I'll make a motion to sign the extension request letter from the flood fund.
Got a motion, is there a second?
I'll second
Got a second, any discussion on this one? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Make a motion that we, what do we call it? Adjourn from the
Close the trustees meeting.
meeting. It's Coulter, South Knowles Lake Drainage
Okay.
District meeting.
Got a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Okay.
Out of that.
you got everything you need there, Linda?
Yeah, I'm right in.
Okay,
Now we
I just need to
pledge.
sign a letter, that's it.
okay, yeah, now everybody needs to sign this so she can get it back to Liz.
Pass it around, or
Who has the letter?
do I have it?
I thought everybody had a copy, but
No, we just need one copy.
Oh, have it here.
That's all right. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
I've got some.
There's a little more detail on these. There's
They're different?
the story of,
They're different to these?
yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't on that, so I apologize.
Okay.
It has a story because it's important
Okay.
to
You want us
show
to
you.
keep both these then?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
sure. It's important to show
Thank
the
you.
story because if the board approves, putting the paintings up on the wall, I don't know if you. Okay, cool. It just lets you know, he was born in 1887, but he was born here in Council Bluffs. They lived at 820 Avenue C, and his dad was a butcher. And at the age of 6, he showed some artistic talent. And his dad said, I'm gonna send you back to Germany, where I came from. And he went back to learn more about art. He came back here to Council Bluffs, he was 19 years old, when he won a contract with the Mormons to paint a 297-foot picture depicting the history of the Mormon tribe. And he did that at the age of 19. Came back to Council Bluffs, and then moved on to Chicago. And in Chicago, there was a judge called Tree, and he gave the artist colony the apartment buildings and things for them to live in, which was at that time downtown Chicago. He lived in that Tree colony until his death in 1960. He is buried here in Memorial Cemetery along with his wife. He died, I think, about the age of 72. One of his noted things that I am particularly interested in is that he also met with Grant Wood, because he was at the Artists Institute of Chicago, and at the Artists Institute of Chicago, he became a teacher. And in 1924, one of his star pupils was a person called Walt Disney. He taught him for 1 year. And then he lived there, of course, in the Tree Colony, got married, but never had children. He would always come back to Council Bluffs, and his sister Helen always insisted that a non-pareil reporter go out and talk to him. Well, it was because, and he was always a kind of a silent man, but it was because of this interview that the Chicago, they call it the theater downtown, that was bought by Madison Square Garden and refurbished from the historical standpoint. And they kept the paintings that was in the wall of the Greek heroes. And when I called him, I said, by the way, the paintings up there in the Greek wall, he said, yes, and the director said, we never knew who painted them. We looked through our files. I said, I've got an interview with a person in the newspaper that said that he was painting those while I was coming back. And so I sent the deal to them, and now if you go to the Chicago Historical Theater, they now have a deal showing that Louis Grau was the painter of those murals. But he painted a lot of murals. We went down to the restored one in the Union Station down in St. Louis, which I attended. And it was a very long mural of a train coming into a depot. But he has permanent paintings in the Denver Museum, which I have here. And he also has a permanent paintings in a museum in Indiana. So he's becoming more popular, kind of like in a resurrected way. Suzannon's, which is a retail antique sale and in painting for retail, had one of his paintings up for auction. And they put down there, they thought that it would go for between $2,500 to $3,000. It went for $13,000. And it just shows, I think, the popularity of his painting. Well, you got, the board had okayed putting his pictures, some of his paintings in there a couple of years ago. You had it on the wall here. And we like to try and do the same thing again and ask your permission if we could. On the other side, we had Grant Wood, the Cornman murals, which are now at Pace down there, and done a fine job. And as I was telling Scott and that there's a painting out in Iowa West by Grant Wood called Early Pioneers of Painesville. And the painting is so large, it will not fit in Pace. There is no, the elevators and everything are insufficient to bring it up to the 4th floor of Pace. Your building is, and your deal here is quite long. It was rescued in 1970 when all the Cornman murals were being torn down. Dr. Heifetz from Los Angeles came and took down the Pioneer Room, which no one knew was Grant Wood at the time, and he got to keep the painting. Well, he gave this one back to the city of Council Bluffs, and there's 3 of them. And 2 of them are in Washington High School in Cedar Rapids, in a special Grant Wood display case. And then the 3rd one here in Council Bluffs. It hangs out at Luke Hall, and there's no recognition that it's even Grant Wood. And I think Grant Wood is probably one of the nation's top artists, compared to, especially in the movie made in Hollywood called Pictura. They had Michelangelo, and they had 7 great artists, and the last one was Grant Wood, and was played by Henry Fonda. So it's in the tombs of Turner Classic, and you have to have 2,000 signatures for it to bring it out to show it to the public. So we're hoping to get that through Pace and that. But anyhow, it would be nice if the board decide, because it does belong to the city, would have to take the city's permission. But it would be nice to have it exposed someplace where people can see, especially with such an artist as Grant Wood. And I think right next to it is the artist Louis Grau, which I think is, he had over 80-some paintings that they were willing to give to Pace, and Pace didn't take them. And I don't know any particular reason why, but if they can be on display here. One of the paintings that we have here is a replica, almost a duplicate of the one that's held in a permanent museum in Denver. And I've always liked this one because I call it the Keeper of the Earth. is that he's in full regalia, and he has a higher plateau, which is his God, and he is looking out after the world of the earth. And I love this painting, so this would be shown. And any of the, no one in Denver is a chief is on a firelight, and that's on permanent display in the Denver Museum. So anyhow, I would like to get permission from the board to hang the paintings. We do need your vote in order to do that. And we would hang them for as long as you would like to hang them. And we could rotate them too, because he has so many that the family is still here. Like I say, he's buried up in Memorial Cemetery. He died in 1960. And I think one of his, he was a silent man. And Tree Colony, where the artist stayed, happened to be in a very growing part of Chicago in 1960. And Chicago Mayor Daley wanted to raise the deal in order to build some newer company type of buildings. And he had the order out, and in 1960, Lewis Grell and another person went out, chained themselves to a tree in front of the bulldozer, and they stopped the progression of that, of Mayor Daley. I thought was very unusual for him, but he believed in the artist and that. So, is there any questions that the board has?
So I guess one question I have, how large are these paintings? Are they just all different sizes, all
Yeah,
different kinds?
they're all different sizes. One thing about the artist, now this is a rare one that he signed. He never signed, and you sometimes wonder why they don't sign it. And Gertrude Stein, who was an artist critic, said it real good. She said, it's because every artist sees the ugliness in their work that no one else sees. and sometimes they just don't sign it. But this one they signed, and the other one that we hung around here was signed by him. So it must have shown his, that he approved of his art. And we wouldn't put them up without your permission. And there was always little stories that we would put under them. And of course, the story of Lewis Grell. And if there's something that the board would like to pursue, the grant would out there, it would be nice, because I'm sure we can get permission from the city to take it out, because no one sees it. No one sees it. And that painting out there was valued, because there's 3 of them, and they were valued at $1.2 million, that back in 1990. I mean, so it was, yeah, it's
Incredible.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. And the thing of it is that he used the copies of George Simons, who was here in Potawatomi and did early drawings of Potawatomi. And that's what Grant would use. So anyhow, that would be something too. But asking your permission to, if we could, because you now designed those 2 walls where you can show artists and paintings and things like that, because they put in spotlights, and so it's kind of nice. I don't know what you do on election night though.
We had an election night on there for a while.
Oh, have they? Okay.
IT doesn't like to do it, I guess, so, I don't know, the auditor.
But anyhow, just ask your permission if it's something that we
So-
could do.
I'm just my 2 cents for the board and everyone in here. I think it's great, and I think it'd be wonderful to do. The only concern I would have is just we're in the middle of doing a lot of renovations around here, and I thought maybe if we were going to do it, I'd hold off till after those.
We
But,
can do that. We can hold off.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
but yeah, I think it'd be great. It'd be great to see artwork being rotated too.
Sure. And I can come back to the board and show you exactly what we can put up if the board like to see it. But I think he's a local deal. He was born here and died here, and so it's kind of nice to have and I think he's getting better and well known, because in Chicago, like I said, that Susanna's painting went off for $13,000, and that was collected to join another collection that was at the museum there in Chicago someplace.
Yeah.
So I think he's become more popular. And there's a deal on my book in the back there, lewisgrell.com. You can see the places that, and all the paintings that he has. But he was more of a muralist. He loved the murals. So,
I agree with you, Justin. I think they do exemplify really amazing work.
I think so too.
We're in the middle of we're not in the middle, but
But I
we kind of are in
understand.
the middle of a possible addition and construction, and
I see
I'd
that.
recommend that, that we kind of hold that off.
We can hold off.
And take a
because-
vote on
I've
it
got on the
when we
back.
get our construction complete. Would that be
Oh my
okay
God,
with you,
yeah.
David?
When is it gonna be completed?
Oh, probably January of 22.
Oh, 22.
We have another year yet.
Well, that's no problem, because the family would love to have, and they lived out there, the last of the Grell, not the last of the Grells, but she lived out there, Pat Grell and Art Grell were the nephew of Louis Grell. And she was his wife, and she just died a month ago, and was buried right along with Louis Grell up there in the cemetery, so. But we can sure come back when the time is right.
How many were up? Do you know, Jason, how many were up?
How many paintings?
Yeah, how many were up when we took them down before?
I don't recall. There were several grills and
There was 8,
there was 8.
yeah.
So do you have the 8 then? Do they go, we don't have them, do we?
No, we got him.
Okay.
Put him back in the deal. But he painted so many that, and of course, this one would take it. Then there's one called Art Bear, which he painted every face that was in the tree colony that he met from he lived in the tree colony from 1912 to 1960 when he died. So he was there and saw a lot of faces.
So do you have an inventory of how many murals there are?
Sure. Not the murals itself, yes.
Or the pictures or whatever?
Sure. There's a complete inventory listing right on his website,
Okay.
for the paintings. And now they were, even when Pat Grell died a month ago, there were like 50 some out in her house. And so they were evenly divided to the family. But they knew what I was doing here, and they really supported it, and they would be happy to supply whatever. But we have enough paintings here because Kathy, the daughter, lives over in, she is the great grandniece of Louis Grell. She lives over in Omaha. So,
Yeah, well,
Be nice to get the size.
what do you guys would like to do? Do you wanna hold off till we get the stuff done?
Sure.
and then
Oh,
we
yeah.
have
Oh, yeah.
that? No.
just give you an awareness, I didn't realize of the, whole, but I think that would probably be a very wise idea.
Yeah, so your phone number's in the back of here, right?
Yeah.
I'll reach out to you and, maybe come get sizes and different things like that.
Wonderful.
So you have an idea, and then
Thanks, Judge.
when the time's
You
right.
guys are seriously about the Grant Wood, I would really help you expedite if something like that would appeal to the board. Because it's a very large painting. It has such a history of this doctor coming from Los Angeles, taking it down, because he thought that it was painted against the wall, not against canvas. And he took a $2.97 paint scraper. And he went in that night and he took it down and he sent me the paint scraper.
Wow.
He has since died, but he sent me the paint scrapers, and they thought it would cost $100,000 to take it down. And he took it down with a $2.97 scraper. He got from Sears that was on the corner there
Yeah,
back in 1970. And so that's really kind of interesting. It has a lot of history.
yeah.
So,
Well, I'll reach
Okay.
out to you soon and
thanks, John.
yeah, we'll go through and get sizes and idea what they all are, and then we can work with Jason.
You bet.
And then we'll bring you back here about a year when we can,
That sounds good.
so,
Thanks.
yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You're
Sorry I
welcome.
couldn't get you in the camera shot.
Do it.
Sorry I couldn't get you in the camera.
Oh,
My
that.
cameras aren't working very good.
No problem.
I don't know why that monitor's not on. I'm using the,
TV just off?
I turned it on several times.
Are you on the right input, you know?
Yeah.
Thank you.
See ya.
You know, I turn on monitor and then when I back out,
Hi,
I
Jay.
control it and it goes out.
Do you have the remote son with you?
Huh?
Do you have the remote with you right now?
There's a remote for that?
For the TV, yeah.
Sure. What's this? I got something here.
No,
That's the
that's,
Apple TV. You need this one. Maybe.
well, the camera looks like it's turned backwards, is it?
No,
Facing us.
it's almost got, it's pretty tough to control. It's not
Justin.
responding very well.
Is there a power button on it? I have one working, it doesn't have a power button. There it goes.
Oh, okay.
I think it was just off.
I've never seen a monitor that's had a button on it.
We've come a long way since the old board days when you guys used feather and quill to keep your.
Yeah.
No, the
That was
camera-
easy.
Now the camera needs adjusting.
Well, I can adjust it here if I.
Okay, next,
Can
we
see what
got
I'm
Rob,
doing.
you're up next. Discussion decision to pay deposit for the civil service testing at the Mid-America Center. Rob, you know what this is about?
Yeah, we just, preparing to do the civil service testing, January 16th. The cost is $500. They're requiring a $250 deposit, and then after the event, the additional $250. And just
What do you, how many people do you anticipate that will be actually testing?
historically, we've had about 80 to 100 put in applications, and half of them show up. So we're hoping that that stays the same, and we get a fair number of applicants.
Is this like, you guys set up like obstacle course and stuff in this one too, or is that just
It's
strictly
not
just
really
the
an
testing?
Not an obstacle course. They do have to do the push-ups and set-ups, and then the 1.5 mile run, and we've been doing that up in the concourse area around the arena.
How many laps they gotta do? It's like 10 or something?
I'd be guessing what it was. I can't remember. I want to say maybe it was 10 or 11, but I can't remember.
So do they have to pay to take the civil service test?
Yes, they paid $20.
They pay $20?
Yes.
Who does that go to?
It comes back to the Board of Supervisors and goes in the general.
Okay. So if you get 40 people, then you made $300?
Yeah.
Only people at $20 a pop.
That's our time, obviously, we got- How many, do you have a bunch of deputies down there?
Yes.
Is there like a whole staff that goes down there, obviously, to run this thing? from us?
Not the whole staff, but there's probably 10.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion, is there a second?
A second. Is that, did you say Saturday? Did you say Saturday?
Yes.
Okay.
He's got to be there. Try out.
Yeah, I know, I was.
We need good
I
applicants.
was gonna see if you had any room in your office for some Louis Grau paintings.
That's in January, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're gonna have Melissa make an invoice for the deposit of $250. That's what the motion is, right?
I did, I got a motion, second?
That's what the motion was for, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Rob, thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Grant, you on the phone?
Yes, I am.
All right. Grant, we have a community and economic development planner with MAPPA, discussion decision to approve and authorize chairman to sign agreement by and between McGill Asbestos Abatement LLC and Potawatomi County for the Carson, Macedonia Downtown Revitalization Asbestos Abatement Project.
I thought we did this.
Is there anything new with this one?
So, no,
Checked the bids last time. I think.
early last week I forwarded or asked Melissa to forward it to the county's office, and they looked at it, and based on the email I saw, I didn't see any issues. But yeah, this is just the the one piece that is remaining prior to the start of construction. So if all goes to plan, they could do the work within the next 4 to 5 weeks, and hopefully the project can be done in spring or early summer of next year.
Was there a Grant, Scott Bell, was there buildings added from Carson onto this thing? Or were those all the original ones?
I think there was a building early on that dropped out,
Okay,
and one was added. I'm not quite sure which one that is.
I was thinking it was a US Bank.
But everything is mostly from the original application.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, motion to approve.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion on this one? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Grant, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Maria Seek, Public Health Administrator, discussion decision for the county to pay part-time county employees for flu shots. We're paying for the actual shot, is that what you're saying?
At cost. In the past, we've come to you for that at cost for the vaccine, for those employees that are uninsured.
What's the, what is the number of those employees?
We have 60 part-time employees currently. 60.
What's the cost of a shot?
It's $16.97. In the past, we've had between 7 and 15 of those employees come get the vaccination. So it's roughly, for 15, it'd be $255.
Do you have that in your budget?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Well, how many will take it? Did you pre-qualify the 60 or not?
No, that's just a
mean,
total number of those.
Right, but they're not mandatory to have to take it, right?
No.
You're just gonna offer it.
We're gonna offer it to them.
Okay.
So last year, we had 7 of those employees get the vaccination.
Is that pretty standard, that $16.97, the price then?
It's close. Last year was $16.33, I believe.
Okay,
So we got a motion, is there a second?
second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
All right, next we have,
Excuse me, Rick.
Go ahead,
Do you have the vaccine then already?
Yes. Yep. And our flu shot clinic is in this room tomorrow, from 10:30 to 1:30, and then Thursday from 8 to 10.
thank you. Next on our agenda, we have Mark Ekman, the Executive Director of the Council Bluffs Convention and Visitors Bureau. Is a presentation and update on the fiscal year 2020 performance and accomplishments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Board, for providing me with some time to give you a little bit of an update. When I was at the State of the County luncheon back at the end of July, I was talking to Tim as we were walking out, and it occurred to me that I've come before you previously, but as a member of the Countywide Tourism Committee, but haven't come here as a representative, just as the Council Bluffs Convention and Visitors Bureau. So like that luncheon, I just thought I would share some information with you about our accomplishments in fiscal year 20 and emphasize that, we really do appreciate the collaboration between the CBB and county offices, county overall, and those good things. I did have a PowerPoint that was up. I may need some assistance with knowing how to work this little chat. I don't know about that.
She just has to drag it over. You see the PowerPoint on your screen? So the way this one's set up, go. Give it on the thumb drive. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's plugged in, yeah.
There it is.
And then, yeah,
You should be able to click that real quick.
Need to point that to the computer, Mark.
Well, I don't think it matters, but I don't know if that thing's plugged in. Oh, it's not. Yeah, this, is there one? So this has the plug in the computer. Oh, gotcha. One second here. Yeah.
There you go.
Got it? Hold on. Oh, mouse is over here. Should be good to go now. There you go. Okay. I think I'm gonna stick it right over here.
Yeah, so I just wanted to take the occasion to talk a little bit about what we've done, and certainly if there's any questions that you have, happy to answer those, but if there's opportunities to collaborate going forward, certainly open to that. You should have a pocket folder in front of you, which on the left-hand side has our printed report, and then on the other side, if we have any glitches with the PowerPoint, we have a printed version of that, where if you can't see some of the details, you should be able to follow it there. And then behind it is the 2020 Visitor's Guide that contains not only information about Council Bluffs, but also all of Potawatomi County as well. It's one of the collaborations between the CVB and the Countywide Tourism Committee. So one of the questions that sometimes comes up is, how are we governed since we separated from the chamber 6 years ago? And on the left-hand side, you can see our board of directors for fiscal year 20. Let's get away from me.
I don't know what things. Where's the batteries? Okay. This is wireless, so all you gotta do is just push the over button.
Perfect, thank you. Technology, don't you love it? So there's a couple of names at the bottom that will look awfully familiar, and that's Sam Stivers and Mark Shoemaker. And since the board was originally formed 6 years ago, we've had, actually 7 years ago, we've always had a Potawatomi Conservation member. And that started off being Sydney Thompson. And then upon her retirement, Mark Shoemaker joined the board. And then Sam took his place. And then when Sam stepped away to pursue her master's, Mark returned to the board. And at our annual meeting in August, Mark was elected vice president of the board, and he will eventually serve as president. Along with myself, Alicia Free served as director of sales this past year, and then Emma Schwaller is our senior content manager. So I'll just dig into a little bit of the 2020 accomplishments. It seems like an eon ago, but can we all remember in July of 2019, we were all getting ready to host RAGBRAI for the 7th time. And certainly the CVB was very involved with that, supporting various committees. We even underwrote the Council Bluffs RAGBRAI website. But also that was the beginning, even though it was in the middle of the floods of 2019, we had a run of 8 months consecutive between July of 2019 and February of 2020, where we saw occupancy at Council Bluffs hotels go up month after month compared to the prior year. So we were glad to see that. In addition, at about this time a year ago, we got the news for the economic impact of travel on Potawatomi County for 2018. And while travel expenditures went up, the economic impact or value of it went up throughout the entire state. In Potawatomi County, it greatly outstripped the state average, going up by 6.5%. And so the overall total of that spending by people coming at least 50 miles or farther away was more than $334 million over the course of the year. Now, more recently, this month, we received news about the 2019 economic impact and saw that again increase by more than the state average, greater than 5% growth. Which then exceeded $350 million in expenditures for the entire year of 2019. So certainly very happy to see that. It's a chunk of change we not only want to keep, we want to grow. Because at the bottom line, although we seem to be outwardly focused, what we try to do is attract new customers for local businesses. And when we do that, we're attracting new taxpayers for local government. And when you add those together, that's a benefit for all local residents. One of the probably most important areas where we can affect those numbers is with sales for meetings and sporting events. And if you look at the sporting events grid, you can see that while there were many more events that occurred in Council Bluffs and Potawatomi County, we assisted 11 events with either sponsorships, bids, or proposals for them to come here, or by setting up hotel room blocks. And with those 11 events that we actually touched, they had 68,000 daily attendees with an economic impact of $9.7 million. Well, it doesn't take you long to look down in the lower part of that grid to see that we did much better in previous years. But if you look at the bottom here with the COVID-19 impacts, we actually lost 13 sporting events towards the end of the year. That's usually our most popular time to have sporting events. That meant we lost 33,000 average daily attendees with almost $21 million in economic impact. So if COVID hadn't have come, we would have exceeded the numbers in fiscal year 18 pretty easily. Now, meetings and conventions is a little bit different. We're having more and more challenge with the proliferation of convention centers and conference centers. But in fiscal year 20, we did assist, again, 11 events with 12,000 attendees with an economic impact of $1.7 million. For the meetings that we did lose, and there were just 2, we would have added another $1 million. But that's an example of how competitive it is to really land those rotating events and meetings. And we're just having a greater challenge to that end. It's not because we're not trying, because if you look in the upper right-hand corner, we identified 185 unique prospects, sent out 48 accommodation leads and 10 venue leads. And below there, you can see the hotel motel tax receipts over the last several years. One of the ways that we do try to identify those prospects is by trying to appeal to locals, because oftentimes they can be our best contact to finding an event, whether it be a tournament or a meeting. And the screenshot in the upper left-hand corner is of Arian Haddocks with the Council Bluffs Soccer Club. And what she's speaking to is how easy it is to work with us. And that's a part of our Bring It to CB campaign. It's one in which we're really actively marketing essentially to our backyard. So it's a backyard marketing campaign to say to residents, hey, can you help us identify these events that we can bring back home? It'll be more convenient for you, whether it's for business or pleasure. And it'll also allow you, if it happens to be a youth sporting event, to be able to have more family members see those youth be able to compete. Below that, in the lower right-hand corner, is actually of a familiarization tour we did in January with 16 out-of-state travel planners. You were a part of a greater convention, but it was an opportunity to work with Visit Omaha and be able to promote the entire metro. I think all of you know that we moved at the end of June of 2019. But what you may not know is that a part of our office is going to be dedicated to a visitor center to not only serve Council Bluffs, but Potawatomi County, the metro, and even the state of Iowa. We've got almost 300 brochure slots. We've started the process of recruiting volunteers, and hopefully down the road, we will also become an official Iowa Welcome Center. This is a screenshot of our website, unleashcb.com. What you might not know is that this not only serves visitors, but also locals as well. That was how it was designed. And we're working with Neapolitan Labs on continually updating it. Neapolitan Labs, of course, is the firm that you're working with regard to your own county site, along with the Countywide Tourism Committee uses them, Election uses them, and then others as well. We did an ambitious upgrade to this to make sure it functions as well as it could. And then during the course of the year, we're always adding new content to bring people back. We actually published 117 blogs during the course of the year to make that happen. And here's a little bit more information on our performance. You can see from fiscal year 16 going forward, we really aggressively promoted it, and page views went up 19% over the course of fiscal year 20. Up 24% in terms of sessions, and then unique users went up 32%. And an example of one of those blogs is the one there on the right-hand side for the taco ride, probably one of the more popular blogs on our website. And then as far as additional new content, we added 10 15-second videos about different aspects of the area. Again, another way to promote and entice people to come back. Social media is a really important way for us to get users to the website. We created almost 1.2 million impressions through our social media outlets. That was an increase of more than 10%. You can see the graph on the bottom there that shows how we really have performed very, very well in fiscal year 20. And in January, we had such a huge spike that the post on the right-hand side is an example of one that was really high performing. Not a great photo, but escape rooms have become very, very popular. In fact, this particular post reached 16,000 people, engaged 2,000, and then also elicited 100 likes. I'm going to pivot to COVID-19 and how that impacted the local hospitality and travel industry. I mentioned before, July through February, we saw increases in occupancy or other hotel stats, and that column there for February indicates that. But of course, in March, we had COVID-19 come on. We started taking a hit on occupancy and average daily rate. And then April, we bottomed out, and we have slowly been crawling out of that deficit in May, June, and July. I do have some numbers for August. We actually stepped down a little bit off of that July number. So we are a far cry from recovering off of that, but some hotels are doing better than others, while on average, the community is at about a 50% occupancy rate. One of the hotels that I happened to visit with last week saw an occupancy in August of 68%, so that's much closer to normal. You may be wondering what we did in response to that. I think all of you were part of the Potawatomi County EOC task force that met weekly for 17 weeks. Doug Reed asked me to do a report weekly on events that were coming up just to get a read on what could be, a spreader of COVID. So I was happy to do that. We also then pivoted to updating the content on unleashcb.com. It's all great and good to have content, but if it's not relevant in the COVID era, then we might as well just shut it down. And so what we did was, this is a screenshot of the bar lease listing on our website. What we asked Neapolitan Labs to do is create the functionality to add a message right here and on the other listing there for the Kingsville Tabernacle to say what they were offering in terms of services. So back in April and May, this would have just simply read offering delivery and carry out. This is a little bit more current. They're indicating that they're offering dine in and carry out. So we wanted to make it relevant. We didn't want to dissuade people from going out and patronizing restaurants. We wanted to see if we could push business to them. But on the other side, where Kingsville Tabernacle and the UP Museum have been closed, we didn't want to have somebody drive an hour or two or longer to come to an attraction to have that kind of a bad experience of not being able to see it. So we added that where it was appropriate. And we did have 2 hotels that were temporarily closed for a couple of months that have since reopened. And then another important aspect is the statement of assurance that we've added to hotels and other listings, is to say what kind of steps they're taking to make sure that their guests are going to be safe and comfortable based on the COVID steps that they're going to take, whether they require masks, what kind of sanitation they're doing. We took those kind of steps to make sure that the public would feel comfortable coming to the area. And then this particular stat here of 3.6 million, we deployed a survey in early April to get a read on the impact on hotels and found out that they lost more than $3.6 million in business that early in the process. And that was only 50% response rate, but nevertheless, pretty significant number just so early on in the pandemic. The other 2 graphics there are actually social distancing signage that we offered up to businesses, organizations that wanted to take advantage of something a little bit more specific to the area than a generic social distancing signage. That's available on our website for anyone to utilize at no cost. The only cost that they will have to incur would be just to reproduce the signage. Here again, blogs, we wrote 46 blogs just about COVID, about resources, information, Test Iowa initiative, and then everything down to what restaurants in the area were offering carry-out delivery and drive-through. And these two particular graphics were ads that we placed on the Nonpareil's website, along with sending out some e-blasts from the Nonpareil in late April, early May to help drive business, to support them to be able to survive that loss of business that they were seeing on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. So pivoting from the reactive to the proactive, we wanted to take an active role in terms of drumming up some additional business. So in June 22nd actually, we launched the Summer Marketing Initiative, identifying 3 niches. Staycations for locals, encouraging locals to hold family reunions and friend reunions when they consider those safe, and then advocating to people living within a 2-hour radius of the county to come here and take a getaway trip. Through the ads that we placed, and got a couple on the right-hand side that we placed on the Nonpareil's website, those were targeted to locals, to get locals to take a staycation at a local hotel, as well as to advocate for those reunions I spoke of. And then we also had, again, blogs. We had blogs that detailed all the great things that they could experience, whether it's just getting out of their home, those 4 walls that they were seeing too much about, and getting to a hotel, or planning a reunion, or taking a getaway trip with a list of all the things they could do. And then we paired that with a microsite with 5 hotel listings that were offering discounted rates. And the hotel rates that they were offering this summer were less than half of what they would normally offer during the course of a typical summer in Council Bluffs and Potawatomi County. We got 300,000 ad impressions, drove more than 9,100 landing page and blog visits, and another 12,800 page views generated through Google AdWords and Facebook ads. And we have additional stats that we haven't been able to collect yet that even add more to that number in terms of its effectiveness. And then now, since that ran from June 22nd to September 7th, or Labor Day, we launched the Fall Marketing Initiative on September 8th that will run through November 8th. That has 8 hotel partners listing discounted rates to be able to come to Council Bluffs, stay here, hopefully support local businesses, because it's not only about hotels and restaurants, but it's the retail shopping, the opportunity to get some more folks paying the local option sales tax, those types of things.
Did you have hotels that closed completely during this pandemic then?
Harrah's and Ameristar completely closed their hotels down, and then later on in the summer, reopened them.
They're back open now?
Harrah's opened first, and then Ameristar opened. I'm not quite sure how many rooms Harrah's opened. I don't believe it was all of the entire hotel, and they've got the most rooms of any hotel in Council Bluffs. Ameristar during the week has 40 rooms open, and then they expand that to 80 on the weekends.
Did I hear you say that they pretty much went to 50% price-wise on their rooms?
The hotel rates that we offer during the summer for our summer marketing initiative, like we were supposed to host the U.S. Olympic swim trials, they would typically get above 200, maybe the upper 170s, 180s, then over 200 for those rates during that time. These rates were like 70. They were greatly discounted over what they normally would be. And that's a good thing for the consumer. It's a hard thing for the hotels to carry forward, because this is really when they make their money, during the summer months.
Okay, thank you.
And I started with some good news regarding RACBRAI and hotel occupancy. I'm going to end with good news and saying that on March 3rd, when we were attending the Iowa Tourism Conference, they hold the annual Iowa Tourism Awards. We submitted 3 nominations. We were fortunate to be able to take home 2 awards, Outstanding Community of the Year, as well as Outstanding Website of the Year. That's the second time in 2.5 years that we have brought home those two particular awards. And then since we separated from the chamber 6 years ago, we've been recognized by Iowa Tourism 6 different times. So we're very proud to be able to do that kind of quality of work to represent the community as well as the county as well as we do. And like I said at the beginning, we're very appreciative of the collaboration we do with the Countywide Tourism Committee as well as the rest of the county. We work very closely with Potawatomi Conservation And like I said earlier, they are a part of our board and make it possible for us to do the good work that we do. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any additional questions that you might have.
I only have two, Mark. Is there an interstate sign that directs people to the visitor center?
Not yet. When COVID came on, we made the conscious decision not to try to direct any more people to our office, just because we didn't think, A, we were going to get a lot of traction with that, and the other one is to protect our staff during this time. Our plans are to request signage, and in fact, I've talked to Debbie Durham with the Iowa Economic Development Authority about the prospects of becoming an official Iowa Welcome Center. If that were to happen, there's some signage that comes with it.
Okay, last question. Off of your website page, can you link to the Waterway site or the Potawatomi County's website?
Currently, we do link to waterwayia.com. That's already there. And we could easily add something to go back to the county website too. And I'd be happy to make that happen.
Would you contact David Byer on that? He's our IT guy. You know, off of our website, you can pick up everything that's happening in all of the other cities outside of Council Bluffs.
Mhm.
And, you know, there's Antique Days in Walnut, all kinds of activities out there that, you know, maybe we can get somebody to stop in those smaller towns too. So I'll make a mention to David to get a hold of you too. But I'd
Sure.
like to see that link off of that site to the Potawatomi County website.
And just to let you know, Tim, with the events that we have, unleashcb.com, while there's many that are Council Bluffs, it's open to any event that takes place in Potawatomi County. There's only two requirements, that it happens in Potawatomi County and that it's open to the public. And we're happy to have those events there. We try to support them as much as possible. And on behalf of the Countywide Tourism Committee, our content manager manages the social media outlets for the Countywide Tourism Committee, along with our own. So we're trying to work very much in lockstep with the Countywide Tourism Committee. Melvin might be able to speak to that as well, but yeah, we're on board with trying to promote the entire county.
Okay. I'll make sure that happens.
Sure.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
You have a thumb drive in there?
Yeah, on that side there.
Thank you, sir. Yep. And I'll give this back to you so you don't lose it.
What, have you even been down there a year yet? At the new place?
Yeah, we're at 509 23rd Avenue.
Yeah, but I mean, how long you been there?
Since the last week of June of 2019.
Okay, so a little over a year.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be the hours of that if you become a tourism center?
We would probably observe hours approximately 8 to 5.
And then the weekends would be?
We would probably, if we had the designation as an official Iowa Welcome Center, we would probably be at least open on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Just a matter of doing that recruitment of volunteers and then determining if we have to have staff time over the weekend as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh.
Awesome, thank you very much. Next we have Paula Hazelwood, Executive Director of Advanced Southwest Iowa. Discussion decision on funding request for livability. This is Iowa.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for getting me on the agenda so quickly. So we have a unique opportunity right now to partner with the state of Iowa, specifically Iowa Economic Development Authority, on a brand new printed publication and online publication that we will be using for not only business recruitment and retention, but also talent recruitment. And so Director Debbie Durham sent all of the economic development executive directors across the state a letter asking us to support this initiative. And I've been working with the gentleman, so they've contracted with a company called Livability Media. The initiative is called Livability, this is Iowa. And I've been working with the representative that is working with IEDA on this initiative. And after reviewing all of the materials and meeting with them literally virtually 4 times, I think it's a really good opportunity for Southwest Iowa and Potawatomi County to get in the mix. A lot of times, the materials that we have, we have a lot of partners that we work with, and each of our partners probably has their own list of collateral materials that they utilize for whatever specific reason, much like Mark just showed you on the screen. We are looking at this as a partnership between the city of Council Bluffs, the county, Potawatomi County, the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce, Advanced Southwest Iowa Corporation, the Convention Visitors Bureau, and a few select other minor partners that can all come together collectively and really utilize this tool, both the printed publication and the online platform, to promote Potawatomi County and Southwest Iowa. We don't have one collective piece that kind of walks you through economic development, community development, education, housing, quality of life, philanthropy. And we need a piece like that to continue to promote our area. So I have spoken with Supervisor Wickman, who's the chair of our board of directors, and I've also reached out to Supervisor Schultz and discussed this initiative with him. I emailed all of the information from Livability to you for your review. I have got a commitment from the Iowa West Foundation to fund 1/3 of it. I'm here today to ask you to consider funding 1/3 of it, and then the City of Council Bluffs would fund the remainder 1/3 of it. The total cost is $26,700. 3 things that I really like about this. The availability of the online platform is completely connected to all of social media. Every single partner and organization that provides information with this can put this on their website as well. We will have a landing page specific to Southwest Iowa and Potawatomi County that will house all of the information. This is the content. I was able to actually go to Des Moines 2 weeks ago and have a very lengthy meeting with Debbie Durham about a lot of things, but this was one of the items that I talked to her about. This is the piece that her and her staff will be taking with them when they talk to businesses. And I like it because we can use it locally, we can use it regionally, nationally, and globally. Livability Media is an established media firm. They have tens of millions of viewers already that look at their publications on a daily basis. They do blogs and all kinds of other things that drives to the content. The other 2 pieces is that they, with the price that we pay them, they do all of the photography and all of the writing. We structure what we want the content to be, and they do all of the writing and all of the photography. And at the end of the day, we have access to all of it. It's not intellectual property that they keep. We will actually have access to everything. So I'm just here asking, again, if you would consider funding 1/3 of this initiative. The actual publication comes out in December. So the next, 3 months will be very busy getting everything written and up on social media. And then we actually get publications of 8 pages would be what would be focused on Potawatomi County. And we would get the 8-page section that would be separate printed copies of that. It's also separated out digitally. And then we would also get overruns of the full This Is Iowa publication that we can utilize. And hopefully house in Mark's lobby when they're up and running with that.
So was your request $8,000, Paula?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And how many pages are in the, I don't know, what you want to call it, magazine or?
The Livability Iowa is, their graphic designers and writers are currently working with Iowa Economic Development Authority. But the 8-page section that I just talked about, they call it sponsored content. And that would be, again, it would be included in the overall, but can be taken out. And we don't know that answer yet, Scott.
So other community communities are doing the same thing.
Other communities are doing it, but I've asked them like how many sponsored content. So you can do a 16-page or you can do an 8-page. They only have one other 10-county regional group that's doing a 16-page right now. So ours would be the second 8-page basically. But I asked him, can you estimate the number of pages you think will be in the overall publication? And he thinks it'll be about 100 pages.
So is Debbie doing one?
That's Debbie and her staff are driving the content for the overall Iowa piece, yes. Bless you.
They are doing one?
Yes, yes, sir, correct.
I like it. Cool.
So it's, we're the 8-page, right?
Yes,
So
we would do the
it's-
8-page.
What is it, 8,000?
It would be 8,900 if you split it up, but I'm just asking for 8,000 today, and we will divide out the remainder of the balance between the other partners that are connected, because
This is 24/7.
it's actually, I think it's 26/7.
Okay, well, 8-page, full-page positive content, certain details attachment 8. 60 sports file, how it works, package 24, 8 full pages, is that not the one?
No, that is it then. Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
I thought it was 26, but it might be 24.
Two full pages, 11, and then option C is 8,000.
And I actually had them add on in the estimate that they provided us some extra runoff copies just of our 8-page, yeah, of our stuff, yeah. And all we have, if they print them free, but we would just have to pay shipping, which was pretty minimal. And also with the articles that they write, if something substantial changes throughout the year after it's published, they will go into their digital platform and update whatever the updates we give them.
They do, and we don't.
They do it, yes. They do it all on the back end. We wouldn't have access to the administrative pieces, but yeah. So if they wrote an article on a business that we have here and something substantial changes with, let's say they do a major expansion and we want to tag that onto it, we could give them a supplemental piece and they would upload it. They would rewrite it to coincide with the original article and then upload it.
But this is really gonna run from basically January to December of 2021.
So it's published in December, we would use it all in 2021, and then we would probably go in for updates. Because I'm looking at this as something we should continue to update and utilize moving forward. Again, because every one of our partners, community and municipality partners can utilize this. And it will have, I don't exactly know, I have in my mind kind of an outline of what I would like to see the content look like, but it will have information on all of the communities in Potawatomi County.
I'll make that motion, Chairman Schultz, taking, to provide $8,000, and it comes out of our tourism budget line item.
Second.
Okay, no motion, second, any discussion? I think it's gonna be a great thing to do, and, puts us on the map a little bit more with the rest of the state area, so. Yeah, that's with that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. And once we have the structure, Justin, I'll come back. I'm going to be back here, I think, in the next week and to do our normal update. But once we have the outline, I'll make sure that you guys get a copy of that so you can see how we're progressing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Who seconded that?
I did.
All right, next on our agenda, we have John Rasmussen, our current engineer. Discussion decision to approve and authorize chairman to sign AIA document A104-2017 standard abbreviated form of agreement between owner, Potawatomi County, and the contractor Jensen Builders Limited for construction of secondary roads maintenance facility in Hancock, Iowa. John, you want to kick this off for us?
Oh, the item description was pretty good. We opened bids a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I guess, at this point. We've got the contract back from the contractor signed, so it's on the board for approval.
Okay.
Matt, did you review this? Yeah, okay. Was one of the things that happened in the contract with, the, B wing was that we had to provide, additional insurance for
Builder's risk.
builder's risk? I don't see that in here. Is that, so we're okay with that, right? I mean,
The big questions that I had were, there's no liquidated damages clause. So that's fine, but there's just no penalty for delayed performance. Usually on these, it's nice to get a fire lit under the contractor to make sure that they perform in a timely manner. And there was no, I noted to John that there was no insurance amounts filled in for any kind of insurance. I mean, it just said they will get insurance, but there were not actually any minimum coverages of liability. I think generally we have those. I mean, I know this is gonna be a decent sized company, doubt it's a problem. I'm sure that they carry enough insurance themselves, but, there was just nothing in the contract about any sort of minimums.
Yeah, I should have sent you updates.
I was gonna say, they should name us additional insurers.
Right, so there were some updates and I didn't get those back to them. So they have a builder's risk umbrella liability of 20 million. Sorry, just thumbing through these, trying to find those insurance pieces. We did add some insurance in there.
Looks like page 2021.
yeah,
I don't think we have that.
It's
Oh,
probably,
yeah, maybe it is here.
it's subsection 17 on the contract, Scott.
Yep, 17, the bond and insurance.
I do see a $2 million insurance for an occurrence, well, $1 million for an occurrence, $2 million general aggregate.
I had them add in the insurance I would have on a transportation contract. I don't know if that was completely appropriate, but that was kind of a standard office. So yeah, on page 20, it kind of starts there with
Page
insurance.
21, it has an umbrella liability of 20 million. Does that make you feel better?
I didn't feel super uncomfortable with it. I assumed that
Well, we
Jensen
should add
Builders would have
insurance.
enough, but, the requirement that they have insurance was in there. There just was no specifics about it.
And some of that was in the proposal, and I don't know why I didn't make the contract. Then, we didn't have LDs, but I typically have a 3% retainage, and this is a 5% retainage, so we'll be holding $100,000 at the end of this project that they won't get unless they finish.
That's a pretty good incentive.
Unless they don't finish ever? or-
Well, the LDs are kind of motivate them to quit, if we're getting $500 a day, but we'll be holding 5% of what we're paying them as retainage, so I think they're gonna want paid, I guess. I don't know that I can claim damages too well since we have other shops we're still operating out of, so.
So does the 5% grow if there's change orders approved then?
Yeah, it's 5% on everything we pay them.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with both those issues.
Sorry, I didn't get that back.
All good.
pleasure of the board.
Are you looking for a motion, Chairman Schultz?
I am.
I will give that to you.
Got a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
A motion and a second, discussion. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. John, do you want me to sign that one or this one?
That one's fine.
Okay.
I'll just get it back from Melissa.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Do you want to vote to go into closed session and take?
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll take a,
5-minute break.
yeah. There's a
Okay,
motion.
Chairman Schultz, I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Okay, is there a second?
Let's see. Under pursuant to Iowa Code, Chapter 21.5, Parent 1, Parent C, for discussion and a decision on pending litigation or on a matter where litigation is imminent.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Roll call, please.
Chairman Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisors Roby,
Aye.
Wickman,
Aye.
Belt.
Aye.
5-minute break.
Chapter 21.5, Parent 1, Parent C, for discussion and or decision on pending litigation or a matter where litigation that is imminent. That's
That's fine, that'll work.
okay, that will work.
Okay, so I got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisors Wickman.
Aye.
Groby.
Yes.
Belt.
Aye. Excuse me.
We're recording and open.
Chairman Schultz, I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Code of Iowa, Chapter 21.5, parent